Two friends, Chinki and Orami. Chinki, a fast-growing puppy, loved the ocean where he lived near. He always went running by the shore, and he thought how the faraway places on the other side of the water look like. One day, he started building a boat. When the boat was finished, he loaded it with food, 2 barrels of fresh water, a compass, a map, and a telescope, and other necessities such as a first aid kit and some bandage. On a cold but sunny morning, he waited till the tide went low and reached only half the height of his boat. Then, using all his might, he pushed the boat into the water, climbed on the board, and started to sail. The dragon, the boat's name, proved to be well made and suited to sail on the ocean. Chinki was a natural sailor, and he was truly enjoying his ocean adventure. The weather was fine. Day and night, as he sailed the ocean, he was full of wonder and excitement. One night, he was amazed upon seeing some whales spouting water into the air. Overwhelmed by the beauty and mystery of everything, he rolled over right off the deck of his boat and into the sea. "Help!" he barked as he held desperately to the dragon. But he unfortunately lost his grasp when circling around on water, and he never saw his boat again. And there he was, in the middle of the immense ocean, 1,000 miles from the nearest shore. He decided to just keep afloat. As he was trying hard to do so, a huge head burst through the surface of the water and loomed over him. It was a whale.
"What sort of fish are you?"
the whale asked. "I'm not a fish," said Chinki. "I'm a puppy. I live on land."
"Well, I'm a mammal myself, though I live in the sea. Call me Orami,"
he blurted. Chinki introduced himself and told Orami how he came to be there in the middle of the ocean. The whale said he would be happy to take Chinki to the Pacific coast, where he happened to be headed anyway, to attend a meeting of whales from all the 7 seas. But Chinki said he had enough adventure to last him a while. He wanted only to get back home and hope the whale wouldn't mind going out of his way to take him there.
"Okay, I don't really mind at all,"
said Orami.
What other whale in all the world ever had the chance to get to know such a strange creature as you? Please climb aboard.
And Chinky got on Orami's back. What a relief to be safe and secure again. Chinky lay down and was soon asleep. Swimming, sometimes at great speed, sometimes slowly, the whale took a week to reach Chinky's home shore. During the time, they developed a deep admiration for each other. They became the closest of friends. They told each other about their lives and their deepest secrets. The whale was very curious about life on land and was sorry that he could never experience it. Chinky was fascinated by the whale's accounts of what went on under the deep sea. Then the time came to say goodbye. They were on the shore.
I wish we could be friends forever,
said Orami.
I'll never forget you.
And you can be sure I'll never forget you, said Chinky. I will always be grateful to you for saving my life. And I want you to remember that if you ever need my help, I'd be more than glad to give it. The whale couldn't take Chinky all the way inland. They said their last goodbyes, and Chinky dived off Orami's back and swam back to the sand. From the top of a cliff, he watched Orami spout twice and disappear. Orami laughed to himself.
How could a little puppy ever help me? Little as he is, he's all heart. I love him and I'll miss him terribly.
Orami went to the conference of the Pacific coast and then went back to a life of whaling about, while Chinky returned to his life of a house guard. They were both happy. Many years after, when Chinky was no longer a very young puppy, and when Orami was no longer a very young whale, there occurred one of the worst storms of the century. And it happened that Orami, the whale, was flung ashore by a tidal wave and was stranded on the very shore where Chinky made his home. It also just happened that when the storm had cleared up, Orami was lying high and dry on the sand, losing his moisture in the hot sand and needing desperately to be back in the water. Unknowingly, Chinky came down to the beach to see how much was the damage done by the hurricane. Orami and Chinky recognized each other at once. Chinky rushed toward Orami. Orami could only look at Chinky.
My friend, help me,
said the whale to Chinky, who was now a grown-up dog.
I think I'll die if I don't get back to the water soon.
Chinky, looking at Orami in an agony of pity, realized he had to do something very fast. Suddenly, he was gone.
I'm afraid he won't able to help me,
said Orami to himself.
much as he wants to do something. What can such a little fellow do?
Just as Chinky had once felt, all alone in the middle of the ocean, Orami felt low, lying alone on the shore. He was sure he would die, and just as he was preparing to die, Chinky came racing back with two of the biggest elephants he could find. Without wasting time, these two good-hearted elephants pushed with all their might at Orami's huge body until he began turning over, covered with sand and rolling down toward the sea. In a few minutes, Orami was in the water, with waves washing all over him.
You have to be out of the sea really to know how good it is to be in it.
He thought.
That is, if you're a whale.
Soon, he was able to wiggle and wriggle into deeper water. He looked back at Chinky on the elephant's head. Tears were rolling down the great whale's cheek. Chinky had tears in his eyes too. "Goodbye, dear friend," barked Chinky.
Goodbye, dear friend,
rumbled Orami, and he disappeared into the waves. They knew they might never meet again. They knew they would never forget each other.